Hey guys, Miss Rast here, and today you're going to be listening and hopefully taking some notes over a new party in power. We have fast forwarded to the year of 1800. When we last left off, the Founding Fathers had created a constitution, and we had a new federalist form of government, meaning that the power was in the hands of a strong central national or federal government, but still allowing for individual and state rights with the Bill of Rights added to the Constitution. Washington served 2 terms. Following Washington, we went to John Adams, and now we come to the election of 1800. And the essential question that you're looking at is, how do governments change? And so the things I'll be covering is the election of 1800, Thomas Jefferson as our 3rd president, and finally westward expansion. Okay, so the election of 1800 is really going to bring about political parties. We have the Federalist Party that supported the Constitution, backing John Adams for a 2nd term. We have the Republicans Party backing Thomas Jefferson with Aaron Burr as his running mate. It is not a typical political campaign like we would see today. For one thing, people thought that direct campaigning was improper or rude. Instead, letters were sent out to citizens and newspapers to make the case for their candidate and to give the candidate's views made publicly. It was still a pretty nasty election. There were personal attacks on each candidate, just like today. Federalists accused Jefferson, who believed in freedom of religion, as being godless, and Republicans warned that the Federalists favored the wealthy and would try to bring back a king. When this election takes place, the Electoral College, that group of people that actually represent the population, cast their vote. What happened at this point is whoever came in 2nd place would automatically become vice president. So Thomas Jefferson became president. He had the most votes. Aaron Burr was the runner-up. He became the vice president. Now, we saw a video when we looked at amendments before that said this wasn't a great system because the candidates were usually on opposing parties, and now we're asking them to work closely together. That's going to probably lead to problems. So after this election in 1803, Congress passes the 12th Amendment, changing that, saying electors will cast a vote for a president and one for vice president. Okay, so Jefferson as a president, he's pretty chill. He wore his everyday clothes. He walked to the Senate to take his oath of office. He is not a fan of large government. He would be an anti-federalist. He really believed in the individual rights and states' rights. And he proposed a very frugal government. He didn't want to spend a lot of money. He cut a lot of government jobs. He wanted to limit the power and size of the government. Now, here's something that comes up that's a little bit of drama. It's the Judiciary Act of 1801, so has to do with the courts. What happens is that John Adams, before he leaves office, makes hundreds of appointments to the benches. He's filling the courts with judges that see things his way. We're kind of seeing that a little bit right now with the Supreme Court drama happening in current events. Adams' appointments could not take effect until last-minute appointees known as midnight judges received their actual official papers. When Jefferson becomes president, some of them had not received their papers, and Jefferson tells his Secretary of State, hey, don't deliver them because I don't want these judges. One of the appointees that does not get his papers is a man named William Marbury, and he sues and goes to the Supreme Court in Marbury versus Madison because he said that he should be able to have this commission. The court does not actually agree with that. Now, why this matters for us today is that with this case, it does establish 3 principles of judicial law. One, that the Constitution is the supreme law of our land. The Constitution must be followed when there's a conflict with another law, so it's always going to trump a state law or an individual's argument. And the judicial branch can declare laws unconstitutional or illegal. Something else that's going on at the turn of the century in 1800 is that the territory is going to extend west to the Mississippi River. So if you remember, one of the reasons why we got into the American Revolution is the British said we could not move past the Appalachian Mountains, so we were pretty much stuck here on the eastern seaboard. Well, now that we have set up our own country, People are moving out west, seeking land, adventure, opportunities. We call them pioneers. Farmers would set up along rivers that fed into the Mississippi River. So that way, when they would harvest their crops, they could put the crops on boats and send them to the huge port city of New Orleans in order to sell them. Now, Spain has control of the Mississippi River at this point and control of the port, but they are okay at this time with the Americans using their river for goods. And we need this river, guys. It's vital for our economy. It's our transportation link to get goods in and out. But excuse me, in 1802, Spain changes its tune, and the Americans find out that they have actually been negotiating with France. And this is a problem because France has a leader by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte, seen over right there on the right. He's pretty power hungry. He wants to create an empire in the Americas. And Jefferson fears that if France takes control of this Louisiana territory, New Orleans, the port, it's going to really hurt our trade, our own economy. So he tells a couple of our ambassadors to go ahead and offer $2 million to gain just the territory of the New Orleans port. What he does not know is that Napoleon has his own problems. Napoleon had brought his troops into the island of Haiti and was trying to take that over, but the people on the island had revolted against him and thrown France out. He also has a war with Great Britain going on, and so you guys know war is costly, takes a lot of money. So he just wanted to get rid of this land, and if the United States is willing to pay, then the territory is up for grabs. Napoleon surprises the ambassadors sent to offer money for New Orleans by saying, hey, I will give you all this land, this Louisiana purchase, if you will, for $15 million. I mean, that's a bargain. Now, Jefferson is concerned about the legality of the purchase because he's not sure if the Constitution will allow him to actually buy this land. But in the end, he decides that his government treaty-making powers will allow him to make the purchase. It's such a good deal. Lots of cheap land. We're doubling the size. Farmers can go out there and set up their homes. I mean, he's a big guy into farmers and individual rights. We'll have control of the Mississippi River. We finalized the purchase in October of 1803. And so if you look here, this is what we originally had. This is people expanding out, and then, woo, we got all this land. We got the Mississippi River. We got the trade port. So Jefferson and people are very happy. And that's where we're going to leave off for now. So thank you for listening.